Welcome, survivors. This is Yuli 1961, and we are back on the Ark for episode 4 of Enjoying the Ark in 2021. I'm very glad that you're back. I hope that you're finding these videos entertaining and informative. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at expanding our little group of dinos. We're going to try to get us some more tames, a little bit bigger critters, so that we can explore the island a little bit better. Maybe get a dino that we can actually ride and help us harvesting and getting us around the island a little bit easier than us walking everywhere we go. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, chips, or whatever it is that you're fancy, and let's get it going. All right, so it's a new day on the island, and wanted to catch up on something that we really didn't talk about the last time when we went over whistle commands and different behaviors for dinos. And this is something that's fairly important for little squishy dinos like Leah here. She easily gets killed by pretty much anything out on the Ark. You don't want her going and attacking anything. That's why we put her on passive flee to start with, if you remember. But, you know, we went over the whistle commands in the last video, and if you whistle things like whistle all your dinos to go to neutral or to aggressive or to come to one spot, Leah's going to try to do the same thing, even though we set her behavior to start with as passive flee. The way you can avoid that is if you hold down E and you go back into her behaviors and you click on this one, and at the bottom of the screen here, you'll see change to ignore group whistles. So click on that, and what'll happen now is anytime there's a whistle command that's not specifically targeted at her, she's going to ignore it. So I can go out here and I can whistle at Chuckles, and I can say, come on. I can maybe have more tames out here, and I can have them all follow me. I can turn them all from aggressive to neutral to passive, and Leah's not going to hear it. She's not going to listen to it. She's not going to change at all. The only way she'll change is if I either go back into her screen and change her behavior here, or if I whistle directly at her. So remember, T whistles at 1. If you hit T, she's going to follow, right? But I don't want her to follow me. I want her to stay in here. So let's stop glitching around, and we'll go back to the T menu and say stop 1. And she'll stop. If I say stop all, she's going to keep following me because she's not listening to those individual ones. She's only listening to the one commands that come directly to her. All right. So I'm going to pet her, get her to start spreading those XPs a little bit. I'm going to whistle over here to Chuck. Come on, Chuckles. Over here by the house. Come on. This way. There we go. All right, you got your little arrow. You can stay right there. And now Chuckles is going to get some XPs while Leah sits safe in the house. And I am going to go out and start looking for a new tame. Now, I've seen a Triceratops bouncing around down here that y'all probably seen in the other videos. But that's a pretty big animal. And frankly, if you try to use a club to knock her out, it's a female. I've already checked a little bit ahead of time, but she's a level 27. But besides that, she's got a lot of armor and she's got a lot of toe for that you'd have to overcome to get her knocked out. So jumping in and punching her with a club is not going to work. Now, a way that you can change that is to build a trap. And we'll go through how to set a trap up for these dinos. But even the trap's not going to do you much good because you set a trap, you get her hemmed in, but you still go up there and start wailing on her with a club. It's not going to be a good day for you. And so what we want to do is find a way to be able to knock her out without getting into harm's way. So let's take a look at our inventory screen. It's some things that we really didn't talk about before in our previous videos. And these are some important things. I just didn't have time to cover everything in every video, or else you'd be on here for 24 hours, and I don't think anybody would sit through that. no matter how good the video was. If you look at in this first screen here and you highlight a particular item, so I'll put my mouse over these amberberries, you'll see a description of them, and it'll tell you how long it's going to be to spoil, how much weight it is, what a little description about it. Occasionally, especially if you're clicking around here a lot, you may go up here and it doesn't have a description. And what's happened is somehow or another you've clicked this button here off, the toggle tooltips. And if that's off and you hover over something, it's not going to tell you anything about it. So if you go into your inventory one day and you're trying to figure out, how much spoil time do I have on this meat, and there's nothing showing up, well, chances are somehow this button got clicked off. So just click it again and it'll come back on and you can get the descriptions again. Another thing that you can do in your screen is you can sort your items so they're easy to find. And doesn't seem like that'd be too hard with just a few things in here. But when you start getting a lot of stuff, both in your inventory or in a box, you're going to want to be able to figure out really quickly what's in there and how much of it you have. This button here that says sort items by name is a selection button. You can sort them alphabetically. You can sort by weight. You can sort by how long it's going to take to spoil, or you can unsort everything. And even with the alphabetical, you can sort like A to Z or Z to A. Depends on what you want to do. So right now I've got them sorted Z to A. If I go back in here and click alphabetical again, it's A to Z. And that's going to put my meat together. It's going to put anything that I've got duplicates of, more than it would take for one stack. So it's really easy for me to keep up with. Another thing that you can do, if you have something in your inventory that you really don't need. So I really am not going to be doing anything with stemberry seeds right now. Stemberries are a stimulant. And if you get, say, bit by a snake or a scorpion, and you can eat a couple of these really quick, you can kind of counteract the poison and keep your torpidity from going down. But you got to be quick. And it also makes you really thirsty when you eat one of these. So you need to make sure you have some water on you or access to water, because you're going to dehydrate if you eat a bunch of them. Okay, so getting back to what I was talking about is maybe you don't want any stemberries in your inventory right now. It's just one more thing that you might accidentally eat. You can click on it, right click, and you can drop it. Or you can type O when it's hovered over it. Either one will drop that thing out of your inventory, right? So it's gone. It'll drop into a little package and it'll stay there for a little bit of time. It's 1 minute and 53 seconds. So just in case I dropped the wrong thing, and that happens, believe me, more than I'd like to admit, it gives you a little bit of time to pick it back up. If you get into a situation where you've got a lot of stuff in your inventory you really don't need, you're really not going to use, then you can drop stuff out of your inventory that way. Another way to drop things is to do a search. Say you've got a lot of stuff and I want to get rid of all my meat. If I go up here to this search bar and I type in meat, it's going to show me all the different kinds of meat I've got. I can go up to this button here and say drop all, and it'll drop everything on this screen. So if I click this, it all goes away. It's going to ask me if I want to do it. And then if I say accept, it's going to drop it. Now, all that stuff's out of my inventory, and it's only in one bag. So this was one thing. This is many things in one bag. To get it back, I've got a little bit more time in case I really didn't mean to do that. All you've got to do is type E, and you see all that stuff there. And you can drag it over like we talked about, hit T for each one of those things. Or if you want to move it all back over, just hit the transfer all and it'll all be back in your inventory. So that's a way that you can get rid of some stuff out of your inventory. The other thing on this screen that I wanted to highlight is these buttons up at the top here. This button here is going to show you, this is the tab that shows our inventory, right? So we've got, these are all the things we have in our inventory. The next one over is going to show you all the engrams or skills that you've learned. So the ones that are not grayed out are things that you have learned, and you can do them. And the ones that are grayed out that have a number on them, then those are things that you have to spend points on so that you can learn them, and then you'll be able to use them. Okay? So as you go down and level up, remember in the first video I said, on the vanilla game, you cannot learn everything. It just doesn't work that way. So you have to kind of be picky and choosy about what you're learning as you go through the process to make sure that you're getting the things that you need to have. All right? The next button is Tribe Manager. Now, when you start the game, you're going to be on your own. You're not going to be in a tribe. What you can do is hit edit there, and you can name your tribe. You can be anything you want to be. All right? So if I want to be the tribe of Yuli, I can type in tribe of Yuli. And there I am. I'm good. That's my name of my tribe now. See, it shows up here. And anybody I invite to my tribe will be in the tribe of Yuli. And we will share everything we've got equally. So I'll get access to their houses and their cabinets, and they'll get access to mine. So you want to be careful who you tribe up with. And there's other settings in here that sets permissions and things like that. But for early game, it's really not that important to try to manage all that stuff. The button over here with the little dinosaur footprint is groups. We talked a little bit about groups when we were talking about whistles. That's, again, another video into itself about how to set groups up and whistle commands for the groups. And then over here, you can see a list of what is currently being tamed by your tribe. So in process, right? You can track all of them or untrack them all, but right now we're not taming anything, so I don't have to worry about that going on. And then the last button is Explorer Notes. Across the map, there are going to be little boxes hidden different places, usually around ruins or things like that. And when you walk over top of them, they'll pop open, and that'll give you a little bit of information about that particular instance. Maybe it's dinosaur information, maybe it's about the game, the characters that put us here, why we're here, that kind of thing. The other thing it'll do is it'll give you a XP boost for a certain amount of time. And when we find one, I'll show you, we'll cover it again later, but just have that in mind that these are things that you'll pick up as you play the game. Okay, so let's go back over here to the one on the left that says inventory, and we're back in our inventory screen. I saw that we got 2 levels here, so I'm going to bump those up and I'll get us some engrams that we can spend. We want to give some more weight, so I'll pop that one more time. I think we're good on melee, so let's do a health. So we'll get a little bit more health. Okay, so now we have our inventory screen up, and I'm going to scroll down here because there's some things that we're going to need to get if we're going to really start taming things, especially if we're going to start building traps. One of those is a bow. We're going to need that to be able to shoot some arrows to knock out dinos. So we're going to try to get that. There we go. And of course, if you're going to have a bow, you need arrows. So we'll get the skill to do those. We got earlier the mortar and pestle and narcotics, which we'll be able to make in the mortar out of the narco berries and spoil meat and make a substance that keeps dinosaurs asleep when we knock them out. The other thing we're going to need is something to trap them in. That's where we start getting into our wooden items here. Now, that Triceratops, I know from experience, can knock through wood. But I'm going to show you a little trick on how we can still build a trap out of wood that will hold her, I hope, or any other trike that's about that level, long enough for us to knock it out, which is really the goal here. We're going to need wooden foundations, and we're going to need walls for our little endeavor. But we're going to run out of points here, so we're going to have to do some more working before we can fill in our trap here. So we'll get back to that. But for now, we're going to go out and we're going to look for some more tames. And we'll see what we can find out there on the beach here, because there's a couple of dinosaurs that you can get and ride without having to spend a lot of effort. And those are a parasaur, which is a knockout tame. And we can use our bolas. And if we use our bolas, oh, well, look at that. So Pegamax just attacked us. Remember I said I really didn't want to be around those things. So the way a Pegamax works is they run up and they attack you. And when they attack you, they steal whatever's in your last slot or whatever else they can grab if you don't have anything in your last slot. And the way you tame a Pegamax is you give it measures in your last slot, and every time it goes to steal from you, it tames a little bit. This one's a fairly low level, so he tamed right up with one measure berry. So, hey, we got another band on our party. A cool thing about the Pegos, as nasty as they look and ugly, and I hate them because they steal your stuff all the time, they're a shoulder pet. So here's what you can do. You walk up to them, you hit E, and they're going to be on your shoulder. So I'll give you a quick reverse camera thing, and there's my Pegamax on my shoulder, and he will attack other animals for me if I throw him down on the ground. So what you can do when you have a shoulder pet is if you double tap F really quick, he'll get thrown out in front of you. And he'll do stuff like he'll steal stuff from other characters, or he'll attack other dinos, depending on what you set him at. For now, just to keep him safe, we're going to pick him up and we're going to run down the beach here and see what else is out there. It's getting ready to get dark, so we're not going to spend much time out here, but I do want to go see what we can find. Well, there's a turtle. Now that might be a decent tame for us to do. Turtles are not... They are a knockout tame, but they're not really... Oh, and there's another peg. All right, so I guess we got two Pegamaxes that attacked us and are now following us. So we should have a whole bevy of them before long. Let's see. What did you take? You got my red berries. The other guy probably got my measures. Let's see. Oh, there's a Mozchop. A Mozchop is a weird animal. It is a passive tame, but it's a tame that asks for something different every time you go up to it. So, right, this one wants tinta berries, which I have. So I'm going to take these red berries. I'm going to drop them in my last slot. And I'm going to walk up to him and I'm going to tame him. I hope. We'll see. Because he's going to ask something different every time you feed him. Oh, he was low level. I got him the first shot. Okay. Now here's something cool about a Mozchop. He doesn't need a saddle to ride. So I can jump right on him. And now I've got a mount. Now, he's a vegetarian. So he's really going to just eat berries. But he will attack other animals, and he'll harvest them. So, let this dodo right here. We're gonna kill him. And now, to look in the Mozchop's inventory, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit F, because I'm riding him, and that's gonna show me what's in his inventory. When he killed that dodo, he picked up meat. He also picked up hide. And then there was if you didn't notice, there was a log laying there, so he also picked up thatch and some wood. So this Mozchop is not just a mount, but he also picks up things that help us harvest stuff. So not bad at all. I've never tamed a Mozchop before, but we've got one now. So let's hustle on down the beach. It's getting ready to get dark. I'm gonna grab a couple more of these dodos so we can get to my hide and cook some steaks on our way back home. And while we're doing it, let's see. Now he has a weight bar at the top. If you're riding a dino, you can see they have a similar type of set of parameters at the top right of the screen. One of them is their health. One's their stamina underneath of it. Then there's their food, their weight, and their XPs. So he is getting pretty high on his weight. Could probably eat these, and we'll probably top him out on his weight. He's getting pretty heavy. So let's head on down back to the, oh look, we got another beacon coming just in time. So we're going to go down here. We're going to grab this beacon and we're going to level up this Moz Chop. And then what I'm going to do, because it's really hard for y'all to see at night, I know, is I'm going to jump us ahead. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back when it's daylight. I'll just jump off of him. He's going to follow me. I'm going to run over here. I'm going to grab this beacon real quick and see what's in here. Access. We'll hit the doubles. The arrow. We'll get another axe, some spears, some slingshot. Those are good things to have. And I am thirsty. So I looked down at my water bottle. What did I tell you? The first video, your water bottle is empty by the time you need it. So I'm going to go out here into the water, here to splashing, and I'm going to look down at the water and hit E, and that'll drink. All right, while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and fill up this water bottle by typing 9, because that's the slot my water bottle's in. So now I have some water there. All right, I'm going to head on back down here to the base. We're going to cook some steaks up, and we'll be right back. Well, the sun's up, and wouldn't you know it, it was raining just as the sun came up. Of course, that has to happen every time you have a cookout and you got steaks on the grill. So I held off a little bit so we could actually see what we're doing here. So we got everybody back at the base, and I've gone through, and just as we did with Chuckles, I have, if you hit F, you can go into our Moz Chop's inventory. I put in his folders so we know where he started. And he's really a he this time instead of me just saying he and then finding it's a she. He also has 6 levels that we can add into his inventory. One of the things I kind of messed up a little bit on is actually a Moz Chop will eat pretty much anything, any kind of food. Not just the berries or meat. He'll eat flowers, he'll eat pretty much any kind of food item. And that's one of the things that makes them a little bit weird to tame. When you have a higher level one, every time you give him some food on that passive tame, he's going to want something different the next time he wants to eat. That's why I've never bothered taming them, because they usually end up wanting something that's rare that I don't have at early game. And by the time I've moved on, they're really not something that I've been, curious about going back and getting. Maybe I should have started differently, because these guys got some they got some meat on them. They can take care of themselves. In the wild, if you hit them, they take off running. They don't stand and fight. And I don't know how this guy will do if we have him in neutral, if he gets attacked, if he'll run away or if he'll stand and fight. But as long as we're riding him, he will fight, and we make him do that. So when you're riding a dino and you click the left mouse button, he'll bite. And then a lot of them have a special attack on the right mouse click, but pretty much every dino will bite on the left mouse click. Okay, so let's get these levels into our Moz Chop and give him a name here. One of the things that I want to make sure he is able to handle is I want to give him a little bit of health. We'll bump that up some, and he gets all happy. All of them have a little animation they do when they get leveled up. I want to bump his melee damage up because we're going to use him as our mount for a little bit. Wow, he's loud. He's a big boy. A little bit more melee. It's kind of slow, so I'm going to bump his speed up a little bit. And a little bit of stamina. And the last one we'll put into weight. Kind of an all-around tame to move around with. Okay, so he's all leveled up and ready to roll. Go over here. Do we have any levels on Chuckles? Maybe. Let's see. We got 4 levels we can put on Chuckles. So again, he's our guard. So we're going to bump up his melee. Her melee, sorry. And we'll just keep doing that. And then we have our 2 Pego Maxes over here. The little pickpockets. So I now had named them. We've got a male and a female. So we have Bonnie And we have Clyde. And they are ready to roll. Let's see. Bonnie is level 6. Got her levels put in here. She's got a couple that she can go up. So let's put that on melee damage. And we'll do the same with Clyde over here. He's a level 13. And we'll have them follow behind us. And if we get into trouble, they can attack. Now, one of the things about a Pegomax, I told you all the dinos has its own little special thing that they do. So if Pegomax, if you hold down E, they, as I said, are little pickpockets. So if you look at the settings on Clyde, you have this pickpocketing setting. So it can be fast, it can be regular, and it can be turned off. Fast pickpocket, he grabs first thing he can get and he takes off. Regular pickpocketing, he'll get the best thing and take off. And no pickpocketing, all he's going to do is attack. So these are particularly useful if you're playing PvP or you're playing against other characters or other people. These guys will go up, grab something, and take it away from them and bring it back to you. So that's their special thing, other than being able to get on your shoulder and ride around. You can only carry one at a time. And one of the things that I'm guilty of myself is I'll pick up a shoulder animal, and so I'll get one of them on my shoulder and I'll forget it because you can't see it. If you're in first person, you don't realize he's up there. And then you go over and you get another shoulder thing and you go to pick it up and it won't pick it up. And you're like, what's going on? Why is it? Is the game broke? What's happening? And then you realize, oh, well, if I hit double F, maybe I got, oh, there he is. I got two. That's why I can't pick that one up. So that's something that you'll run into at some point. So we're going to leave Bonnie on fast pickpocket. We're going to leave Clyde on just fighting. So he will look out for Bonnie. Now, one thing you can also, maybe you can't see it very well, but anytime you have a male and a female together, they will get a mate boost, and it's a little hard. It's hard to see because of the way the pickpocketing thing shows up. And it's going to rain again. Awesome. What that mate boost does is that if they get attacked, they'll fight together, and they have a stronger melee attack, so they can actually do more damage as a team than they can do by themselves. There's also some dinos that have a pack type setup where you have multiple animals, and if you run them as a pack, they'll do more damage that way too. We'll see some of those. You'll see compies probably on the beach up here, little bitty scrawny dinos, and they're just a little bitty thing, but when you get 4 or 5 of them together, they can really do some damage. Let's go over here to our Moz Chops, and we haven't named him yet. Remember, we hold down E, and well, look at this. He's got some interesting stuff too. A Moz Chop, if you click on this, will actually level up not just in his attributes, but it'll also level up in what he harvests. And there's some things that are a little bit more rare to get than your standard berries and wood and all that kind of stuff. Sap is something that you use for certain things when you're making up particular taming ingredients and some other more high level items. Prime meat is also something you'll use for taming, and it actually makes the meat eaters tame faster, and they prefer that. You've got raw prime fish meat, which is something that the carnos that are water animals will want. There's rare flowers, which are an ingredient for a lot of different kind of items. Plus, if you eat a rare flower, everything around you will chase you, which doesn't sound like a good idea, but the reality is there's some dinos that tend to run away from you. Like this Moz Chop would run away, but if I was around him and I ate a rare flower, he'd still chase me down. So there's some higher level dinos that you might want to get at some point, and you might want to have some rare flowers. You can eat one, they'll chase you, and you can kind of get them to chase you into a trap and catch them and tame them. Rare mushroom is another ingredient for a lot of recipes that you can make later in the game. So it's leech blood, and organic polymer is something we'll need for later game items like GPS and binoculars and things like that you can make in the later levels of the game. Right now with him, we have 7 points we can use, and we can pop him into any of these things. I think the most valuable thing that we can have him with harvest right now is either prime meat or rare flowers. So let's go ahead, since we don't have anything to refrigerate our meat with, we'll go ahead and do this rare flowers and get some of those working, and we'll just pop those 7 levels into that, and that'll give him more of a chance to harvest rare flowers when he's harvesting. Okay, we still need a name for this guy, and he's kind of beefy, and he's kind of got a stern face, so let's call him Arnie. He's here to pump us up, right? I am Arnie, and I would pump you up. So we're gonna go to options, change name, and we will call him, whoa, too many E's. We will call him Arnie, and he will keep us safe and be our transport and everything else we need to do for a while at least. Okay, so we're all ready to roll. We have some tames going. We're getting a family here. We got all kind of things going on the beach down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the rain wash us out for now, and we'll come back next time and we'll work on getting a trap built for the bigger animals so we can get that going. We're going to make some narco, and hopefully we'll get leveled up to a point where we can actually make some tranquilizer arrows that make knocking out those bigger dinos a lot easier. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you would, make sure you hit that like button and let me know that you're enjoying these videos. You're getting some entertainment value out of them. If you'd hit the subscribe button, that would be awesome. I'd love to have the channel starting to grow. And certainly leave comments if you've got questions, things that I missed, things that I maybe made a mistake on, something else you wanted to know that you saw and I didn't quite catch. Just leave me a comment and I'll get back to that in one of the future videos. Also, if you're subscribing, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can see when I post new videos and you're ready to go with the next video. Thank you very much for watching. This is Julie signing out.